Okay, 27 we did in class. So I'm just going to kind of skim over this. A random sample of 103 adults n equals, or 1,003 adults. Do you think televisions are a necessity or a luxury? So 521 said it's a luxury. Okay, obtain a point estimate. P hat 521 over 1,003 is 52%. So roughly 52% thinks it's a luxury. How do we ever go through time without a TV then, huh? For those of you that think it's necessary, which is 48% of the population. Funny how times change. All right. Imagine living without a cell phone. Crazy, huh? Okay, so there's my point estimate. Verify the requirements for constructing. Okay, for making a confidence interval for proportions, the requirements are it's a simple random sample, and NP is greater than 10, which is 103 times 0.52 is certainly greater than 10, and NQ has to be greater than or equal to 10. Okay, so there we go. And then there's actually one more where the sample size can't be too big, but we very rarely have that issue when we're dealing with populations. And C, construct and interpret a 95% confidence interval. Okay, so that's going to be P hat plus or minus Z star. So I expect you to fill in the numbers. 95% is 1.96, and then we got 0.52 times 0.48 over that, and if you do that in your calculator, you get 48.8% to 55% of the population. That's the interval that we think the true population proportion lies in, that think TV is a luxury. Is it possible that a supermajority, more than 60, believe that television is a luxury they could not do without? Is it possible? Well, yeah, it's possible, because my interval, I'm only 95% confident in my interval, so the true population percentage could be 60, but it's not likely, because in my interval, I'm 95% confident it's in there. In other words, 95% of my samples will give a good interval, an interval that truly contains a population proportion. So it's not likely. All right. So then E says, use the results of part C to construct a 95% confidence interval for the proportion who believe that television is a necessity. Well, that's going to be P hat now is 48% think it's a necessity. 1.96, 0.48 times 0.52 over, notice the margin of error is exactly the same, so I really could just add the margin of error plus or minus, or add or subtract it to 0.48, and if I do that, I get 45% to 51%. Okay? Alright, now what I didn't do is interpret it, and I want to make sure that we're clear on that. I'm 95% confident that the true proportion of adults who think TV is a luxury is between 48.8% and 55%. Okay, guess I don't need the parentheses when I write it like that, do I? Okay, there we go. Things I'm looking for. 1, the conditions. 2, the formula with your information in it. 3, the correct interval. And 4, what does it mean? All right, 28. Family values. Okay, so we got 768 out of 1024. Think that a candidate's position on family are extremely or very important in determining their vote for president. Okay, so we think that, not we, this sample thinks that 768 out of 1024, or 75%. So 75% of the sample think that family values are important in determining their vote for president. There's my point estimate, that's p hat. Requirements, one, it's got to be a random sample. And NP and NQ, so 1024 p hat 0.75 is certainly greater than 10, and 1024 is certainly greater than or equal to 10. Okay, so my conditions are met, so I know this test is going to be valid. And number 2, or B I should say, that was B. C, 99% confidence interval, p hat plus or minus 2.576 square root of 0.75 times 0.25 over 1024, and if you do that, p hat's going to be 75, of course. You will get 71.5% to 78.5%. Now, if you do it in your calculator, it might be slightly different if these answers were done by using the table in the back or not, but as long as you're really close to that, you're good. So I'm looking for 1, 2, 3, only put 75% in here, and then 4, my interpretation is this: I'm 99% confident that a true proportion of adults who think family values are important in voting for president. Is between 71.5% and 78.5%. All right, now D. Is it possible for the proportion of adults for which family issues is important, is it possible that it's set below 70? Yeah, it's possible. Is it likely? No, it's not really likely at all, because we're 99% confident that it's between 71 and 78% roughly. So it could be outside of that, but it's most likely in there. It's not that it's 99% chance that it's in there, it's that 99% of my samples will give an interval, because every sample is going to be a different interval. So 99% of the samples are going to give an interval that really does contain the true population proportion. Alright, and I didn't cut off or print E, I don't know what that is, but there's your answer for E for you to check it. My guess is it's what percent think that it's not important. Okay, and that we did one just like that on number 27. Okay, there you go.